Hey guys, so I am back to talk about this giant market dip that's been happening for a while, and I couldn't help but wake up really early the other morning, and I don't know if I was having a dream related to it or what, but I couldn't help but have the image of Chicken Little in my head going, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And in this case, I think it's safe to say that Chicken Little, so to speak, could be analogous to a lot of the investors that got in that didn't have enough knowledge or right intentions to be there in the first place. So, in other words, they're the ones that were probably just chasing the money, not the ones that really have always believed in the technology or the ones that got in early enough, if you know what I mean. But anyways, I think a lot of people that just got into investing only isolated to cryptocurrency are probably the ones that don't realize that on an even broader, more systemic level, the stock market's been falling quite a bit too. If you really distill it down, I'm sure there's a correlation of the investor that's not only selling his or her shares of stocks and bonds and ETFs, but they're also now selling their shares of their cryptocurrency that they purchase. Either way, it's more of a broad systemic thing. I don't think it's just isolated to the cryptocurrency market, so that should be encouraging. Another bit of encouraging news related to it is that one of my friends who has made quite a few friends in the hedge fund world in the last few months has mentioned the fact that a lot of them are actually looking to get, a lot of the ones that hadn't invested yet are now looking to get into the cryptocurrency market now that there is a dip. There's that whole expression in finance of like buy when there's blood in the streets, and blood in the streets is representative of all the red price drops that you see when you go on all the different websites like CoinMarketCap or Yahoo Finance. Like there's red everywhere, there's blood in the streets, so that's a good time to buy. Personally, I have used this as an opportunity to go purchasing some things that I feel, some projects that I felt were a little too expensive when I found out about them, but they were on my radar list, so to speak, and so now that they're on sale, I have been purchasing them. I haven't been going too crazy. For the most part, I already held quite a bit of what I'd already wanted to hold, but there were a few things that were, again, in my queue of things to buy. Another thought that I've had is I can't help but wonder if Charles Lee, the Litecoin creator, was almost like a canary in the coal mine with everything that's happened lately, because not too long before everything really started tanking, Charles Lee sold off a bunch of his Litecoin. And that to me is like the least confident thing you could possibly do in the brand and product that you create. And it reminds me of a lot of publicly traded companies, well, all publicly traded companies, the top executives are required to disclose when they go and sell shares of their stock, because let's face it, like that's a really bad sign of confidence if the people that are the canaries that are deep inside the coal mine, so to speak, the people with the most knowledge, the top executives or the creators of a project, if they're selling shares of whatever that project is, that's, I mean, let me put it this way. You don't go selling something off that you think is going to continue to thrive. So that alone says a lot. So the fact that Charles Lee cashed out, again, I have like a kind of canary in the coal mine feeling about that in hindsight, because obviously things did tank after that. Whether or not they recover, how much knowledge he did have regarding the whole picture, I don't know. We'll have to find out. Hopefully things start going back up. I think they will, but maybe Charles Lee knows something that the rest of us don't, which wouldn't be surprising considering how deep into the game he's been. I've actually had a blast regardless of this fallout and what the end results of it are going to be, whether or not there's a recovery. Because back in December of 2016, I started with $400 and I now in hindsight view that $400 as almost like a ticket to a really fun theme park with a lot of crypto roller coasters with fun ups and downs, and hopefully this is just one of those big roller coaster ups and downs that ends up happening. But regardless, I've had a lot of fun at the crypto theme park, so to speak, with my $400 ticket that's now still worth a lot more, regardless of all the roller coaster happenings, because I hodled. I still like have trouble grammatically trying to produce the HODL hodl. It just, it bugs me. I love it. I love the culture around it, but it just, the word itself, my inner type A personality is a little frustrated by it. But anyways, long story short, I've had fun. And now, on a very real note, and without any further analogies, I can honestly say that I am grateful for this correction in a lot of ways, because I think it's really going to help remove a lot of people and especially projects that didn't belong in this market in the first place. The ones that couldn't stomach it, so to speak. The ones that didn't have enough knowledge and right intention and mission to be in this market in the first place. Like, they're the ones that maybe they made money in the short run, maybe they didn't because they hodled a little too long from their perspective. But yeah, now hopefully that helps weed some of these people out, so the projects that do have a really strong mission and the investors that really do believe in the technology and believe in crypto as a marketplace that is here to stay. Because again, regardless of all the individual projects, I always said from the get-go, this is a technology and a market that's here to stay. But again, in the beginnings, it's a very volatile primordial pool until you figure out what species, what projects are going to actually have the grit and the perseverance to be riding out all of these massive dips. So in that sense, again, I'm grateful for corrections that happen, because they really do help to correct things for the better for those of us, and especially projects that have better long run intentions and knowledge. And finally, I know this looks really strange, but for good reason, I wanted to make a bit of an apology for a comment that I made in the salt video, where I referred to all of these cryptocurrencies are a bunch of beanie babies anyways. And it was an exaggerated comment. Yes, there was some truth to it. If you don't have demand that can adequately outpace supply, then you're not going to be able, oh my god, I have to take this off now, it just looks so ridiculous. Then you're not going to be able to sustainably have ridiculously high prices in any market, whether it's beanie babies, whether it's crypto. But the reason that I'm apologizing is because, unlike beanie babies and Cabbage Patch Dolls, blockchain or cryptocurrency is based on blockchain technology. It's going to change the world a lot like the way the internet changed the world. And you had a dot-com bubble that helped to gain hype and exposure and therefore proliferation of the technology of the internet. And I think that's more analogous to the marketplace we're in with crypto, because I mean, you have like game-changing technology on one hand. Yeah, there's a lot of hype that went into it, but on the other hand, I have no right comparing them to these little guys whose only virtue is having beans in their butts, and a company that tried to control supply and really ramp up demand. So we're sorry about that. And yes, I was somebody who as a kid was into beanie babies, and no regrets, honestly. Some of my favorite memories with my grandmother is going around to all of the McDonald's in the area to get Happy Meals on a weekly basis to try and collect all the mini beanie babies. And I don't know, it just made for some fun memories. Like, and it, honestly, before I ever had knowledge of or got into finance, I think it was already starting to teach me things about supply and demand and price and hype and the psychology that goes into bubbles. But anyways, this is my addressing the dip video, and I will see you next time. Bye.